Welcome to the Nerd Party.
They can travel anywhere in time and space.
Off we go into time and space.
So all of time and all of space is sitting out there.
Welcome to Time and Space, one married couple's adventure through the Doctor Who universe. I'm Jessica Nunn.
And I'm her devious companion, Phillip Gilpus.
You are rather devious sometimes.
I'm wearing my Slytherin slippers.
Yes, you are. And you're Slytherin, well, you're
Harry.
all of the houses.
Yeah, my Hogwarts
pajama
pants.
bottoms, yeah. Oh, we got the Christmas...
Oh, we did. I did a little Think Geek shopping. I don't know. Have you ever heard of these crate boxes? Have you ever heard of those?
Oh, yeah. Subscription boxes, yeah. That's what I belong to one where they send me makeup every month.
Right. So there's nerd ones, of course, out there. I've heard a lot of disappointment in the Star Trek one not working out for people. But basically, I bought a few things. Nothing crazy. At least I don't think crazy. But anyway, I bought a few things from Think Geek, which I don't usually do. But that was sort of my own crate box of stuff.
Yeah,
so,
that's a little bit of a lie. You buy things from Think Geek.
No, this was the first one in a while.
Is it?
Yeah. So, yeah. And one of those items was... It was a little early, but I was on there, so I thought I'd go ahead and buy it and invest in it. And that was the Dr. 10th Christmas special. I don't know if that's the actual title, but that's what it is. Christmas surprise, something like that.
Yes.
So Dr. 10th, mystery, or the Mr. Men, 10th Doctor has his own book, but he also has a Christmas special book. So.
Which is perfectly appropriate for Dr. 10, Mr. Dr. 10.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure out whether we're going to read that like mid-October or save it for Christmas or what.
I think we should save it till Christmas.
Okay.
I've been very good. I haven't gone hunting for it to read and things like that. I think I've been very good.
Sure.
What else Doctor Who-ish?
Nothing really. Haven't done any more. I guess since last recording, I guess we did finish the 11th Doctor. We watched the final episode of the series for his first series.
Yes, yeah.
And so the Big Bang. Right?
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
I was going to say, we didn't finish.
But that's sort of the first. So what did you sort of think, recapping? I know you've seen it before, obviously, but sort of Matt Smith's first series. Anything new or just delighted to revisit? Or?
Just delighted to revisit. Those are, most of them, I'm trying to think if there were any that I was like, I'm not interested in rewatching this, but I can't think of one.
I don't not like it, but I'm like, okay. And that's the dinosaurs. It's not Slytherin, whatever they're called.
Yeah. Vastra and her.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know why I'm blanking on that, but y'all know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The dinosaur people. It's not, it's okay, whatever.
No, I find it interesting. I like that one. Mm-hmm. I like that one. And of course, we get to the Van Gogh one, and I'm like, I'm not ready for this one. But I always enjoy it. I'm just never emotionally ready to rewatch it because it's always going to make me cry.
And you've been enjoying watching Arthur and Rory again.
Yes, because I love them.
So what are we talking about today, darling?
So, when it comes to naming the most well-known Time Lords, the Doctor is always first. But who comes second? The Doctor's greatest foe, obviously, the Master. They have battled across time and space, so we'll be discussing the Master's various incarnations.
Yeah, so when doing research, obviously, when you really get deep into this, there's been a bunch of people that played the Master, but we're not going to go, deep into it. So we're going to mostly cover from the post-classic period. Because what are you talking about? When you're talking about the 8th Doctor, I don't know how to include him. So I'll just say post-classic period onwards with some touches. Because I did want to begin. I know we haven't seen them all, or you haven't seen them all, but we've seen a few. And that's starting with what I call the classic Master. And I know folks may disagree and say it's the one we'll talk about later. But the one I've seen the most of when I see classic Who is Anthony Anley, if I'm saying his name correctly, as the Master, because he was sort of 4th Doctor all the way through the 7th Doctor. So basically, half, well, more than half, really, if I'm sure if you did the math. But anyway, of classic Who, starring as the one role of the Master. And I don't know. I always complain about it, so I won't try to go too deep into it. But he is sort of
You do always complain.
But he is sort of the stereotype. I don't know, when did the goatee become the villain?
Oh, I think that's old.
I would be
That's
interested
an
to know.
old
Is it like a Greek
trope.
thing or something where they hold up like the goatee mask on the chin and
maybe.
be the villain?
Interesting. But I think the idea comes from the fork darkness of
Some
it.
of the satanic devil imagery.
That sort of idea. That would be my guess, but I am...
Because I think even with the original Doctor had sort of the goatee. Actually, I don't think it's technically that's a goatee. I think technically it's called something else. But anyway, you all know what I'm saying. Then,
you're depending on these listeners to know a lot about what's going on in your mind today, baby.
Well, they know what the people look like. So, but with Anthony, same thing. Same goatee. And I don't know, he just got a little old. Tropey to me. I mean, I get it. We'll talk about that. But to me, his master is just very like, ha 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 ha, diabolical. You will die now, Doctor. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I certainly enjoy later on when we get the masters with a little more nuance. But I feel that way about the Doctors as well.
Right.
That's one of the things that I think I like about the modern day Doctors is that they tend to be a little more nuanced.
Yeah, so a little over the top. And again, maybe I would have a different opinion if they just didn't use them so much. Again, I promise this. The next time I record, I will look up how many episodes he was in. Because I always say, I feel like 50% of the episodes. Because he's just so overused. And I feel like if they use him a little less, considering he survived for a long time as an actor in that role, I mean, he must have had availability. I don't know.
Yeah, and but I think that that's probably true of so many of the villains in Doctor Who. If they're overused, I think one of the things that I like about the Weeping Angels is that they don't show up very often. Mm-hmm. And so when they do, it's always interesting. And it's one of the things that I'm looking forward to, although with a slight bit of trepidation, in that Chibnall has promised no Daleks, no Cybermen for the first series. And, his reasoning is different monsters, more, let's change things up a bit, which I'm excited about. But then at the same time, I do occasionally like a twinge to remind us to tie things back in. But yeah, I think anytime you're overusing any of the villains, it can become a bit tiresome.
Yeah. So, I'm sure there's more to say about him. That's sort of, I think he would be interesting if he wasn't as used as much. And so anyway. But let's go to talk about maybe what you know a little bit more about. And let's just start in order. Yes. And that's with the master that you know and love, Eric Roberts.
Yeah. And again, I think Eric Roberts is a good actor. I just don't enjoy watching him particularly. I read an article about him in Vanity Fair, and it talked about, he has this amazing work ethic, and he's done like hundreds of films in his career because he's always working. And I find that incredibly admirable, and he sounds like a nice enough guy. I just don't particularly like him, and that, I feel bad about that a little bit,
And I think it's interesting to sort of look at, well, to me anyway, the master's abilities over time. So like in the TV movie, these are just some things I sort of wrote down. So he was sort of existing in this box or whatever, if you remember the story. The Doctor was taking back his dead body or whatever, anyway, from being executed on Davra, which doesn't make any sense, on the Dalek homeworld, Skaro. Anyway, long story short. But anyway, he becomes a shape-shifting snake, basically. He takes over the body of Bruce, the EMT, which is the same as how the fourth, or with the Anthony Anley's master, who took over Nissa's dad, basically, his body. But anyway, so that's an established ability. And he hypnotizes his, the young man, if you remember and so become his sort of companion, if you will. And then he ends up falling into the Eye of Harmony to who knows where he goes from there.
Yeah. And that's interesting. I don't know. I think it might be interesting to actually be able to see the Doctor or the Master regenerate at some point.
Well, we did. We'll get to it.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
But anyway, so basically, I don't know. It's definitely, and I'm not saying it's Eric's fault. I don't know what the direction was, but it's sort of a hammy role.
Yes, yeah.
Whether that was his acting choice or just the direction to be just...
It's kind of a hammy movie, though.
Yeah.
I mean, it's sort of built that way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at Anthony Anley, it's a hammy role, too. So,
yeah.
I mean, if you're looking back at the things, it's
Again, you don't get the nuance yet. Mm-hmm. It isn't time, apparently.
Right.
It'll come. Mm-hmm.
So, right. Well, so let's go to perhaps an actor you do like, though we don't see him very much, and that is... what I'm calling the Master's Secret Return in the 10th Doctor episode Utopia with Derek Jacobi as Professor Yana, who reveals that he is the Master.
Yes, and I love Derek Jacobi.
Mm-hmm.
I watched last night in Halifax, Last Tango in Halifax. I'll look it up, but that's a fantastic little series. I think it's 2 or 3 seasons that he's in, and he's just brilliant in it.
Yeah, it was interesting because I didn't know him. I mean, because just unschooled, I suppose. When I first saw him in this episode, so I just thought like, oh, okay. And we sort of had the Yana or Yana, however you pronounce it, warning earlier from The Face of Bo, I believe, and so it sort of all culminated together when we saw that he had the fob watch, which we saw earlier from the 10th Doctor adventure, and then he says the latest lines, "I am the Master," and it's sort of TV movie aside, the first return of the Master in New Who. And then what we do is he gets shot by his assistant, Cento, and that's when we see him regenerate in the TARDIS.
Yes, I vaguely remember that now.
Into John Sims' Master.
Yes, it is, by the way, Last Tango in Halifax. Go check it out. Fantastic little series. Yeah.
So short episode, I know, or short appearance, but we'll just sort of think of Professor Yana, if you want to call him that.
Yeah, interesting. We're starting to get some of the nuance, even though obviously with just a short appearance, we don't get to see a lot of it. But as you say, and I do stand corrected, we get to see the regeneration. So again, starting to see more. He's more than just a villain, although he is mostly villain in this.
Yeah, but he does end up, I think, killing Cento, and then she kills him before she dies. Because he was like, oh, we liked her. But that was the point, I suppose. And... Yep. Apparently, when I was doing research, he's now known as sort of the War Master, because now Derek is doing Big Finish Audio as the Master of the Time War era.
Oh, fantastic. The War Master. Well, I suppose we needed one.
Yeah, so that sort of explains, I guess, they're saying between, the 8th Doctor, War Doctor, 9th Doctor, 10th Doctor, that was all Yana, or, Derek Jacobi.
Fun.
Yeah. So now the one perhaps most, well, I guess that might be bad. So anyway, the most known to New Who, which, unless until the next one, would be John Sims, the Master, Reborn. And he sort of did the 3-parter, The Sound of the Drums. Well, excuse me. He did what I'd call the 2-parter, The Sound of the Drums, and Last of the Time Lords, with as the Prime Minister there, Vote Saxon. And then he returned with The End of Time, parts 1 and 2, that was sort of the 10th Doctor's swan song, and we thought that would probably be him again since we got a new Master. Spoilers after that, but then he comes back in The Doctor Falls, World Enough and Time, and The Doctor Falls with a goatee. I would note this time.
Okay.
So he had time to finally grow his Master facial hair.
Yes, so. Absolutely. Well, you don't want the Prime Minister to have an evil goatee. That gives too much away. I mean, it's pretty much understood that your prime ministers are going to be.
Now I'm imagining Margaret Thatcher with a goatee.
Anyway. Yeah.
So anyway, what'd you think of... we'll cut this in half here. So let's go first. Sound of Drums and Last of the Time Lords with John Sim.
Yeah.
As the Prime Minister.
Quite evil. But again, you get hints of, we used to be friends. A little bit of the history, why aren't we friends anymore kind of thing. Which I think makes him interesting. I think anytime you're playing a bad guy, you want to try and make them sympathetic as well, because that's more complex and nuanced, as I said. So, yeah, he makes a very good Prime Minister, very smarmy, very... he reminds me a little bit of the bad guy in Sherlock.
Oh, yeah.
In this.
I can see that, yeah.
Just the oiliness, the unctuous, all of that. So, yeah. Moriarty, yes. And I do think of him as... Well, I think of him as the present-day Master.
Right.
Because, of course... When we get to the Mistress, that's completely separate in my head, and a completely separate world almost. So
yeah, and I think it does. It's he plays it over the top, but he mixes it up because he's sort of, for lack of a better word, insane, or whatever word you want to use. I'm trying to be politically correct, but anyway. But he's obviously over the top in his brain. He's broken, whatever. He's evil, whatever. But he then balances out where he sort of has this, where he's manic, and then he's sort of regular, where he can talk about the past times, and he sort of has the calm, scary, you know, when he's discussing his plans or carrying it out or talking to the 10th Doctor, and then he'll do his karaoke, dancing along, shooting things as well. And so I think that's sort of a interesting way to marry that. So it does make it a little bit more interesting than just to be the tying the girl to the railroad tracks. And
yes. Rubbing your hands together with an evil laugh, yeah.
So then we see him again in the End of Time, as I said, where he kind of... Because he was shot by his companion wife, whatever you want to call it, with the last of the Time Lords and refused to regenerate. Then he was sort of burned, or Viking style, funeral pyre, so that, you know, no Time Lord's body. Then a ring falls off, and we're all like, okay, well, we know where this is going.
Yeah.
And so he comes back, such as he is, at the End of Time. And again, similar personality. He's a little even more crazy, because he's sort of come back wrong.
Yeah.
Though he was wrong already. So.
Yes. Yeah, and interesting. And do we get a real explanation of how he ended up there?
Well, apparently because there was a beginning, you know, the wife, or you know, they're trying to summon him back, and they kidnap the wife from prison, and she ends up knowing the plan, and that's why he comes back half, whatever, and then he, and I think it's interesting to compare him, and Classic Who's done this, especially with the 5 Doctors, as much as you can remember that, because that was the Master with the Time Lords, but comparing the Time Lords, especially in this one, where the villains, kind of, Rassilon, of course played by James Bond, comparing him to the Master, and there's sort of different kinds of evil, and the Master sort of is on the spectrum of whether he's with the 10th Doctor or with the Time Lords, which he sort of vacillates between the two at the end, you know, I guess whoever's going to give him the better deal. But anyway, they're the ones who've made him crazy with at least the sound of the drums in the head. But I think that is more interesting when you can compare villains, you know?
Yes.
Which I think we'll see later
absolutely.
in another incarnation. But anyway, I think having 2 villains is always interesting how they play off each other.
Yeah. Yeah, and we get more, obviously, a lot more of his backstory.
And when he looked into the, whatever you call it, when they force all the kid Time Lords to look in the time vortex, they either... What does it, go crazy or run away or something?
Yeah, and it's like a sorting hat.
Yeah.
It's much like a sorting hat.
Slytherin. Well, so what's the 10th Doctor? Are we assuming he's just automatically Gryffindor?
No, I wouldn't consider him automatically Gryffindor, but I think...
You know, he could be a Hufflepuff. He could be a Cedric.
Ah, interesting.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Or is each Doctor incarnation would be sort of different?
I don't know. Maybe there's an
episode.
Yeah. Sweet. What are we talking about? Maybe not next week.
I know he's going to go a little timey-wimey, and then he returns with his next incarnation. You know, we've held multiple Doctor stories. We have our first multi-master story with the Doctor falls, or excuse me, rolled enough in time and the Doctor falls. So, focusing just still on him for a second, what do you think of his return? We get more of the Master of Disguise, because he's sort of playing that role with Bill.
Yes, very much so. And again, it's unclear, like, is he, because he's down there and time moves... Well, no, time moves faster down there. Right. Why is he down there when Missy's...
Well, the explanation, as I recall it, because the 12th Doctor sort of says, let me guess. You landed here, tried to take over, and then they turned against you, and now you've been hiding here. That's sort of your thing.
Right, but then how did he regenerate into Missy?
Well, because he got shot by her and left in his TARDIS.
Yeah, see. Mm-hmm. So like a split, I don't know. I'm a little unconvinced about it, but I don't care because I love it. Mm-hmm. And I think I love the fact that he's there with Bill, seemingly a good guy for her.
Right.
And then later on turns out to not only be a bad guy, but to be the Master.
He's playing a long game.
Yeah, a really long game. But I find that very interesting.
Yeah, it's how much commitment he has there.
Yeah.
For that long of a time to play that role. Yeah, it's odd, and sometimes, and we're talking about Missy here obviously in a second, but it's like when you compare her, and I guess it's always, again, comparing a villain, having 2 villains I think makes things interesting, because then it provides nuance, because like, well, this person's really bad, but they're maybe not as bad compared to that, so you have this weird sympathy, even though you really shouldn't, because this person's still pretty horrible. So like, I really don't like the Master, so I'm talking about John Sim. the Master in this one, I mean, I'm not saying he shouldn't be in the role or whatever. I'm just saying, like, as a character, I'm like, yeah, he's really bad, which of course he should be. But he's just, yeah, really bad. Like, I feel like he's worse than he was before. But maybe that's because, I mean, he is he doesn't know it at the time, but of course he's at the end of his region. But in other words, he's lived as that Master for a little bit.
Yeah. And he's also, I mean, he wasn't great when he aged the Doctor into this horrible little tiny I mean, that was pretty bad too.
That line was like, look at this face. This is the face that stopped listening when you started talking. I didn't hear a word you said.
Yeah, fun stuff. And he and Missy together are just delightful. I just find them a lot of fun, and they clearly had a really good time doing that.
Yeah. Because I think, especially when, like, the multi-Doctor stories, it's always them sort of not liking each other at first, where I think the Masters are like, oh, okay, this will be awesome.
Yeah, there are two of us. Fantastic. And just, absolutely brilliant. And riff off each other, and, just so much fun.
Okay, well, then we'll talk about your favorite.
Yep.
And that would be the Mistress,
yes.
played by Michelle Gomez. And too many episodes to name. Just suffice to say, the entire 12th Doctor story.
Yeah. And again, sort of comes in disguise.
I mean, she's sort of she sort of plays into what had become the trope in New Who of sort of teasing something all season for the Doctor. And so this was the Promised Land, and this mysterious woman that shows up at the end of almost every episode for 5 seconds, welcoming the latest, villain who's gotten killed by the Doctor, or, quote unquote killed by the Doctor. And so that sort of teases us for the entire season, until it's just, in the last 2 episodes, I believe, it's revealed that, well, I couldn't very well call myself the Master anymore.
Yeah. And of course she's just known as Missy, isn't she?
Yes.
We don't get the Mistress part of it. Which again, I think, and I agree, I'm not a big fan of that part of it, the teasing and the constant, it's like the silence, enough already. But the reveal for this is so beautiful, I think, and so exciting, and
oh my God, she's a woman. No, I'm kidding.
And then the protests began.
Well, I think, obviously I was, watching it contemporarily. I don't really remember a thing. Surely there was. Because there's surely always something.
Oh, yeah.
But not enough to be a huge blip.
No, well, but part of it is also, anytime you get a new Doctor, there's always the big reveal and all of this tease up to it. So people have more time to get annoyed by it or whatever they're needing to feel at the time with their fragile masculinity. But we don't get that with her, and we see her as a character for a whole lot of episodes before it's revealed.
And I'm trying to remember.
So by then we're already vested.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fan theories were about who Missy would have been. I feel like at the time, I'm like, surely, obviously there was still internet and everything. I don't know why I can't remember anything, but yeah, I don't know what
probably old age.
Yeah, probably. But I don't know what I thought she was.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of my boyfriend. She kept calling him that. And you're like, well, I have no idea. I guess that was basically my thing going in. Like, I don't know. Yeah. It's only like 5 seconds. So like not enough time to, what's this Promised Land? What's this person? I don't know. So.
Yeah. Yeah, but interesting. But I think she really comes into her own in the last Doctor series.
Yeah, because, she was really... and I know this is the point. So, I kind of... But, with the killing everyone and killing... oh, Lord, I can't remember her name for a second. The girl from the 50th anniversary wears the glasses and the scarf.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, oh, my, you can't kill... I sort of, stopped watching it after that part of the episode because I'm like, I can't listen to anything that's going on because you just killed that character who, we all liked. So I'm like, okay. If you're going to do something like that, you better make it the end. So, like a cliffhanger, because, I just sort of tune out after that because I'm still devastated, It's the reason, spoiler alert, they don't kill Dumbledore at the beginning or the middle, you need that in the last page, which I remember reading when I read that book, whichever Harry Potter one. But when they killed Dumbledore, because I think it's like there's one chapter after that, And I'm still like, okay, so he's going to come back, right? There's
Yeah,
still, it didn't
there's
really
still
happen.
time for him to come back.
I'm like, because it's like the last one's like with the funeral or the tomb or with the whatever, and you're like, he's going to come back, right? No, okay. But luckily, well, she did come back technically, I suppose, because of course they did the cheat that it was the Zygon. Well, and then you don't know which one was killed.
Yep, and then somebody else takes her place.
Yeah,
and,
so she lives on at least.
Yeah,
But anyway.
so it's all right. Don't panic. Don't panic. I mean, Dumbledore does not come back.
Yeah.
But...
He kind of does, but as sort of the ghost Jedi.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. So, but then we get sort of the reformation of Missy.
Yes.
What would you sort of think of that storyline of... Did it water her down, or did it make her more complex in an interesting way, or what?
I think it made her more complex in an interesting way. And again, we get, a little bit of an echo of Sherlock.
Moriarty.
With his sister.
Oh, yeah.
In the cage.
Yeah.
There's that, there's a little bit of an echo, including the piano, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we get this tease for a little while into...
what's in the cage?
Yeah, what's in there. Nardol's
wolf.
like, you have to guard this. You have to keep this going, and once it's revealed it's Missy, then we also get to see how that happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And her punishment and all of those things.
Now, I'll admit, I wouldn't say I don't like a complicated storyline, and that's not true. It just depends how well it's done. Mm. In that case, it all kind of came together in a good way, because when the flashback, where, she's been going to be executed and the doctor's there as the witness or whatever.
No, the doctor has to do it. She has to be executed by another Time Lord, right?
In whatever, yeah. But then that's the Nardole, he doesn't know it comes up. And he quotes River Song to the doctor, basically saying, like, you probably, you don't really want to do this, or that's not who the doctor is. And so, which of course, then you'd have to know the husbands of River Song, and then sort of the backstory and the Blue Book, and so it all comes together. And I'm like, okay, I like that, and when that kind of comes together.
I love it when a plan comes together.
Though it's very subtle. Do you need to know all that for that to work? No, but I think that's the emotional hit of the doctor, making the choice of saving Missy. And then trying to change her. And I think it's interesting how Michelle plays it, especially in sort of that last episode. The doctor gives that speech to the Master and the Mistress. The Master's basically like, piss off, and walks away. And the Mistress, because throughout that episode, you really don't know where she is. She's probably not her old self. But is she entirely reformed? And in the end, what's going to be her final decision? And then she sort of says, no, I'm not going to help you, but I guess it would be nice if I could, or something like that.
Yeah, and I think it's this lovely, because after all of those years being evil, you don't expect it to be a simple reformation. Mm-hmm. And we also see, from the beginning, when she jumps out of the TARDIS into the spaceship, and she's like, I'm the Doctor!
I'm Doctor Who.
Yes, it's clear she doesn't have this under control yet, which is so much fun to watch. It's just really interesting. And so we know that. And again, there's no point in having the two of them if they're both the same. And that's true. There's no point in having Mistress and Master if they're both completely evil. There's also no point in having the Mistress and the Doctor if they're both completely good. Mm-hmm. So her middleness of it, I think, is quite delightful. And I think she does it very well.
And also, the fact that her past self is there, does that affect her decision that literally her past is calling her?
Yes. Yeah. It's a nice metaphor. But there's also the past. For however long he has, the Doctor's been trying to reform Missy. It's not just been a reformation, but also a reconciliation. Mm-hmm. They are coming back together as semi-friends at the very least. And so, knowing that they were in the past and something terrible happened, and they took two different roads, diverged in the woods. And so, it's bringing their relationship a little bit back together.
And of course, to increase the metaphor, or perhaps painfully, she then kills her past.
Yes. But it kills her, too.
Exactly. Which may have been the ultimate story.
Yes. Yeah. No matter how much she wanted to, the past was already set out to destroy her.
Mm-hmm. And so it'll be interesting. Again, I'm of both minds as you are. I would want the Mistress to return either as Michelle Gomez or as another incarnation. I am good with the 1 year off of stuff. But of course,
yes,
the second series, then you're like,
yeah.
I don't know. It's one of those things, with the Daleks and the Cybermen and even the Master, because. Of course there's going to be a Dalek story, right? Of course there's going to be a Cyberman, but you're not guaranteed that there's necessarily going to be another Master story. But I mean, art or are you? I don't know. That is ingrained in the franchise.
Yeah, I find it difficult to believe that this is the end,
right?
For the Master in whatever whether, as you say, whether it's Michelle Gomez or another regeneration of the Master, and it will be interesting to see. And he hasn't, I don't think that Chibnall has said anything beyond no Daleks, no Cybermen.
Right.
So we still may get creatures that we haven't seen a lot of or something like that. I still want the Paternoster gang.
Oh, yeah.
What I really want is the Potato Head's response to the 13th Doctor.
He's a boy now.
Yeah, exactly. Really want to see that. So we'll see how that rolls out. But yeah, there's our exploration of the Masters, including the Mistress.
That's right.
So let's go. We've moved our way forward. Now let's go back into the TARDIS library. Into the TARDIS library to look at the third Doctor.
And more importantly, the first appearance ever of the Master with Roger Delgado in the role. Now, as I said at the beginning, that may be folks' classic Master, but I'm really not familiar with. This is actually the first time I've ever seen him in the Master role, because obviously he was just third Doctor, which I haven't seen a lot of. But anyway,
is he really? Because I kind of think of him as the classic Doctor,
just the third Doctor,
and it may just be that I've seen him in clips and stuff so often. But to me, he is the quintessential.
Yeah, I may have mentioned this, but anyway, when we talked about the third Doctor's regeneration in the Spider Planet thingy, Planet of the Spiders, anyway, originally the story would have been
you guys know what he means, right?
The story may have been like the death of the Master or whatever, but Roger Delgado died. So they couldn't use his role anymore, obviously. Or him playing the part anymore. So,
yeah.
So they changed the story. But yeah, so unfortunately the actor did die before he could further the role with the new Doctor.
So is this the first time the Master ever appears?
Yes.
Ah, see, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's why we're doing the first appearance of it.
You didn't tell me that. You got to prep me for these things. I end up looking like an idiot in front. Well, yeah, it's down there now, but it wasn't when we watched the episodes, and now all of the listeners think I'm a Yahoo because you haven't adequately prepared me for this podcast. You really are devious. You are right about that.
They probably think you're a Google. Now, here's a clip synopsis.
Or a Bing.
Yeah. TARDIS Wiki did go a little long on this one, so I clipped it a little bit. So the synopsis for Terror of the Autons, which first premiered 2nd January 1971. And as I said, here's the clip synopsis from TARDIS.wikia. The Master has an evil scheme to destroy humanity, and to silence his old foe, the Doctor, forever, he plans to awaken the awesome power of the Nestines, a ruthlessly aggressive alien life form. Aided by the Brigadier and by new companion Jo Grant, only the third Doctor can combat their evil power, but first he must defeat the Master.
Now, is this the first time we see the Nestines as well?
No, because of course we saw them with the first third Doctor story.
Oh, okay. Okay, so the first time we see them is with the third Doctor, just not this one.
Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so, now I'm trying to remember. Spearhead from space. All I can remember is the wheelchair chase right now. But anyway, yes.
Yeah. Yes, I know the one you mean.
Yes. But anyway, and there's also, of course, the first appearance of Jo Grant.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. This is the third Doctor's second series, not to be too confusing. Or the premiere of the second series. So, new companion, new villain,
Whoop,
all
whoop,
that stuff.
all the things. Same Brigadier and
company.
Is Mark new?
Unit.
Is Mark new? Has he always been in it? Joe just seems to be flirting a lot with him.
You mean Captain Yates?
I don't know.
And sorry, yeah, Captain Yates. Mike, yeah, yes.
Is it Mike?
He's been around, Mike Yates.
Did I make that?
No,
Oh,
you're right.
sorry.
You're right. I'm sorry, I didn't. And then
Not Mark.
Yeah,
which
Mike.
is what I was going
Yeah.
with, Mike.
And then Sergeant Benton and said the regular unit players are still around.
Okay.
Yeah, and so what did you think of this premiere, or in Roger Delgado's portrayal of the Master?
Yeah, I think he makes a good master. I think it's really, like I say, I didn't realize it was the first time we ever see the Master because he just seems so master-like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's nothing, the more things change, the more they stay the same kind of idea. Mm-hmm. I was like, that's the Master. There he is doing his master thing. There was nothing that made me go, oh, this is unusual or weird, or oh, they're just trying this out. That's kind of what we see. So that's kind of nice. Maybe he was the blueprint. And at least to an extent, it has carried on all the way through. And
it, like, they sort of, his hypnotizing powers,
yep,
it sort of follows throughout his incarnations.
Yep. I would like to say that this serial is creepy as hell.
Yes. I was the Time Team, if you all know who those are, in Doctor Who Monthly, which is the kids, as I can say, because they all are younger than me. But they do
those
show
pesky kids.
Yeah, they do show them. Oh, they're all great though. I follow them on Twitter; they're fun. But anyway, they did show them this. I think one of the parts, because they don't show the whole serial. They were showing, I think, like creepy episodes from Doctor Who, and I forget which part, but they were freaking out over that puppet. Yeah,
this is creepy.
Yeah.
The doll, like the teddy bear kind of
whatever you want to call
dollish,
it.
yeah.
The fangs and the
I mean the big ones are creepy too with the giant heads, and it's all a little bit nutso.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. You could make fun of it, obviously, but whatever technology they're using, they're obviously trying, though.
Absolutely, yeah. No, I was thinking the same thing. There's a lot of green screening.
Whatever technology they had in 1971 or whatever I just said.
Yeah, but I mean, from the plastic disappearing in his hand, and I feel like they're working it the best way they can for 1971. So yeah, no, I give them props for this one. There are a lot of episodes where I'm like, oh my god, that's just bad. But this one, I did not necessarily feel that way about. I feel like they're picking up tricks.
Mm. And I think, maybe this is too easy, but I'm going to go for it. As far as Delgado's portrayal, if I'm going to use that John Pertwee is the James Bond of Doctor Who's, Delgado's Master is sort of the James Bond villain. Mm. I mean, it's always, no, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die. You know, it's sort of the Goldfinger or the Spectre, or
I just called to say goodbye.
Yes, exactly. And the phone cord kills him. You know,
it doesn't kill him. Spoilers, but yeah.
That's the serial at the end of it looked like it, darling.
It did. No, it absolutely did.
If you watch
no more, his "oh my god, I'm dying" face.
Yes.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, you're right. If you stop watching Doctor Who from that point on, you have no choice but to assume that he died in that horrible telephone cord accident.
Right. So thank God we're wireless these days, darling.
Right. So many murders didn't happen
from the Masters.
From the Master, because we went wireless. Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I always feel like how, like, in this episode, when the Master's using different technology of the era, and I'm like, I wouldn't know how to use that technology. He must be a very brilliant Time Lord to know how the mid to late 20th century Earth technology was.
He does always seem very comfortable. Yeah, no matter where he is, he knows the technology, and
he's very primitive.
Yeah, I mean there are a lot of kids out there today who wouldn't have any idea what to do with a rotary phone. Yeah, so yeah, no, that's pretty good.
Though spoilers, because I know you haven't seen. Watching the Master with the Doctor in a radio tower, I was like, "This is where it starts. This doesn't end well." For those who know how the Fourth Doctor dies,
I was gonna say, I was watching and I was like, "This isn't. No, we're okay. We're okay."
Now, I mean, this isn't the topic, but we can still talk. What do you think of Joe's introduction?
Yeah, for the most part, except for that whole, I've twisted my ankle moment. Right. She's pretty capable.
Maybe that was sort of if we want to be in the best light, maybe that was just a call back to like, she twisted her ankle.
Yeah,
it wasn't a pivotal moment, right?
No, and it doesn't seem to stop them. It's sort of a throwaway, but no, and I like Jo. Not necessarily her haircut, but
yeah, weird hair in this one. The third Doctor's hair looks weird. It looks like a wig. He looks like he's wearing a wig.
Yeah,
I'm sure he's not, but it looks like it.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
She looks like she's wearing a wig. I'm sure she's not, but it's sort of plastered to her head. I'm like, good lord.
Yeah, it was
they just
very
have weird hairspray
stylish.
In Britain in 1970s?
Quite possibly. I mean, they might have had weird hairspray everywhere in the 1970s. I have no recollection.
Uh-huh. But anyway, yeah, I thought it was interesting. You know, she sort of introduced as a non-scientist, but she's not like random secretary. You know,
yeah, I mean,
she
skills. Says she took some sort of science at A level, and I wish you'd done escapology. And she's like, funny you should mention that. I'm completely out of my bonds of whatever. Yeah. So, pretty capable, plucky.
Yeah.
Gets things done, unfazed. She does not go into the TARDIS in this serial, so we do not know her reaction yet.
I can look this up, obviously. Not knowing the Third Doctor's, I want to know the first time we ever saw a TARDIS interior in a Third Doctor story, because it had to have been a long time.
Yeah, because it's basically just his... Yeah, it's stuck there in unit. Presumably he sleeps there, but that's all we got.
He does sort of have this sort of, prisoner trying to escape mentality. You know, he's always trying to leave in the TARDIS and it never works. I think it happens in the first story.
Yeah, I
know
think
he knows he's stuck, but he tries anyway, and nothing happens. This first one, you like the actress thought it was going to take off for a second because it makes the sound, and then it's just nothing, and smoke comes out. And he's like, I guess I'm stuck here for another season.
Yeah. Aw, he doesn't say that, but yeah, your point is made.
Cool.
Right. So, what are we going to talk about next week, darling?
Well, darling, I'm speaking of playing the long game.
Uh-oh.
I am planning part 1 of a 2 series.
Okay.
So it's just a little bit of commitment on our part, but...
I am not a big fan of commitment, particularly where the two of us are concerned.
So I feel for next week, part 1, we are going to, just for the whole episode, talk about one classic serial. And in part 2, we're going to talk about the movie based on that classic serial. Yes, we're going to be talking the Dalek Invasion of Earth next week. And the week after, Dalek Invasion of Earth starting Peter Cushing.
I was just going to say, you're going to make me watch another Peter Cushing film.
Yes. Well, we got to look at the basis first and then see which one was better.
Are we going to watch the riff track version of it? Okay, good. Although I still think, we can go back and create our own riff track with a lot of this. But, okay.
Yep. So, for the whole episode, we're going to talk about this. It's a bit of an investment because I think it is 6 parts off the top of my head. The Dalek Invasion of Earth, which, just to tease you a little bit of things. First Doctor, serial, of course. Because they've been the same.
Yeah.
This will feature the first departure ever of a companion.
Oh.
With the granddaughter, Susan, leaving.
Well, she doesn't leave, does she? He leaves her.
Well, however you want to talk about it.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting. So we're spending the next 2 weeks in the TARDIS library for all intents and purposes.
Pretty much.
Cool. It'll be fun.
So stay tuned. Because each of them deserves their own, or do they? We'll find out.
I'm gonna pause it, not so much, but we'll do it anyway.
Well, until next week, darling, you're my favorite reoccurring person in all of time and space.
Except you sometimes are confused that I'm still here.
This is BBC Television.